No, the DCE or the DC World's Adventures, or whatever they call it now, has had mixed reactions. And they just threw out a bomb not too long ago. But I feel DC has already accomplished the combined universe. Hear me out. The DCAU or DC Animated Universe was probably one of the most well written and directed series in cartoon history and probably entertainment history. It started out with its origins, mainly starting with Batman, the animated series, then it ended with a big conclusion in Justice League that ended in 2006. I am very quite fond of this whole DCAU, probably the best thing I ever watched. But today, we will start with the origins of the DCAU and how it became to be. Don't touch that dial.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Season would establish storylines with the Joker, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, the tragic stories of Clayface and Two-Face, along with Batgirl added into the mix. The show will introduce Dick Grayson as Robin and his origins and his iffy and strenuous relationship with Batman/Bruce Wayne. Before the season was even over, the first season, the show was picked up for a second season. The show would win many primetime and daytime Emmy Awards until the end of the show's run in 1996. The show will also gain a video game called The Adventures of Robin, or Batman if you want to call it, but Batman and Robin on NES and Sega Genesis. In 1993, Warner Bros. Decided to release a movie called Batman, The Mask of the Phantasm in theaters. The movie was about Bruce Wayne's origins before he became Batman, his romance with a young woman named Angela Beaumont, and also investigating a new villain in Gotham. The movie didn't do so well in theaters, but it received good ratings and reviews, and the money it made up in VHS numbers and sales. Now, the second season was all divided up. Very much divided up. Fox would air 5 episodes in 1994, deciding to only air weekly episodes because at the time, I guess it was releasing back-to-back episodes each night or so. The new season will air not on prime time, but on Saturday mornings, and it will show more Robin. 9 out of the 20 episodes that came in the second season will receive an on-screen title of The Adventures of Batman and Robin, signifying more Robin. More episodes will air between September and November 1994, with the final 5 episodes being held until September of the following year. The show. Like I said, it's very confusing. I've ever looked on the box sets of some of these, because I have all the seasons of Batman, the anime series. Some of them, I didn't know it was all out of order like that. Amazing what they did on network television back then. There was even a proposed spin-off show for Catwoman, but it was scrapped for, I'm not gonna say it was scrapped for Man of Steel, the Superman animated series. But we'll talk about that more later. The Batman animated series didn't end this there in 96-95. In 1998, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero was released to a direct-to-video. It was delayed about a year, mainly because of another movie that had Batman and Mr. Freeze going at it.
Let's kick some ice.
The show dealt with Mr. Freeze finding a cure for his wife. Nora Freeze was actually a new character that was brought in for the TV show. Nonetheless, Bruce Timm, he wasn't done with Batman. Neither was Warner Bros., of course. They was high. Well, not high. Maybe they couldn't, but who knows. But high on creativity and high on basically success. Because now around this time, the Superman anime series is just getting started. But they wasn't done with Batman yet. It wasn't done with Batman. They knew Batman was bankable. So, Tim decided, along with Warner Bros. And his creators, decided to create a sequel to the show that aired on September 13, 1997. This show would be called The New Batman Adventures. And instead of Fox, it will air on Kids WB along with Superman. The show will go hand in hand with the Superman series in a power segment called The New Batman Superman Adventures. Once again, airing on Kids WB, of course. The show was actually different in animation from previously what it was in the Batman animated series. First of all, they had to switch the animation to match the Superman animated series, so some of the characters were a little bit slimmer, if you could say. And I think they said one of the reasons why they did this was because budget reasons. So, that's their wording, not mine. But this time, some of the characters, a lot of the characters, like physical appearance, would change. This time around, Batman will become more grimmer, more, I wouldn't say angrier, but a little bit more sterner. And they had to make, I wouldn't say they had to make, but I guess they instructed Kevin Conroy to act a little bit more sterner, because his appearance in the Batman animated series is a little bit more chippier and cheerier. Maybe not chippier, but cheerier. But they did this to basically set himself apart as being the leader of the Bat family. Different from the rest of the gang. And his suit was a little bit different. It was no more of the gray and yellow with the bluish black cowl. It was more black and gray. And for some reason, I like the black and gray bat suit more than anything. I think it looks better. That's just me. The show will actually focus more on the supporting cast like Batgirl, the new Robin, aka Tim Drake, and now Dick Grayson as Nightwing becoming his own man. The same voices would return as the same as Sam. And some of the villains' appearances also changes too. So even the Joker. Like I like the old Joker from the anime series, not so much this one from the sequel. But hey, what are you gonna do? Moving on. So we established a relationship with Batman and Superman in the 3-part series called The World's Finest. And I couldn't wait to watch that. Unfortunately, I never got to watch it during its run. I didn't see it until I was 20 something. And I like to thank my parents to take me to Home Depot on a Saturday morning instead of having me watch that 3-part series instead. Yes, moving on. And if you ask that, oh, it's a 3-part series, you could easily watch it. Remember, people, this is the 90s. This wasn't, oh, let's go watch this on the internet or something. Or watch it streaming. So yes, I didn't get to see this to the 2000s. Anyways, enough. The show would last for 24 episodes, ending with season 4 in January 16, 1999. The show was a success. Not as much as its predecessor, but still a success. And it still won Emmys. Daytime Emmy, to be exact. According to Tim, Fox was a little bit more flexible with the Batman animated series than Warner Brothers, who gave them a whole list of what they couldn't do and what they can do. Don't you hate that? The show I actually like more is actually not so much the original series, so to speak. I actually like the new Batman Adventures a little bit more. I think that's what really got me into Batman. More than the animated series, I'm sorry. It just is. That's something I just woke up to every morning, eating a big old bowl of Captain Crunch on Saturday morning. And also watching on a weekday afternoons on Kids WB after leaving school. Before doing homework, of course. The show also received video games, and a direct-to-video movie called Batman, The Mystery of the Batwoman in 2003. Now, this animation from the new Batman Adventures didn't really go away, so to speak. They actually carried it on until, I wouldn't say until, but it was kind of revived in 2017 in an animated film called Batman and Harley Quinn, with Bruce Timm with the screenplay, and Kevin Conroy and Lauren Lester returning as Batman and Nightwing. But this film ain't what it, let's just say this film ain't kid friendly. It's a little bit more raunchier. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. Now, the new Batman Adventures, as much as the animated series, spawned various comic books that carried on adventures in those comic books. In 1999, Warner Brothers, once again, it was not done with Batman. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini developed another show and more characters that were brought to the comic books later on. But this show will be called Batman Beyond, airing January 10th, 1999, days before the new Batman Adventures could end its run. In the show, as we all know, Bruce Wayne has retired from crime fighting. His heart couldn't take it. Before he retired, he developed a high-tech bat suit. By this time, for Bruce to carry on storylines, like I said, he's old, elderly, heart don't work as good, and also he's become almost a recluse. His older allies like Commissioner Gordon and his dear Alfred have been since passed on. I don't think they retired, I think they have passed on. His younger allies, like the Bat family, like Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl, either, in this case, Batgirl became Commissioner Gordon. If you get my drift. They never really said what happened to Dick Grayson, but I guess maybe they hadn't fallen out, but who knows. And Tim Drake also had a falling out with Batman. And as far as the original Batman, in this case, we're going to say original, most of his villains in Rogue Gallery are either dead, died, exiled, or who knows. But now, it was time for a young 16-year-old Terry Mcginnis to take over the reins. And he did a good job. Some people didn't really like this show, mainly because they felt Spider-Man-ish, not Batman-ish, but regardless, the show won Emmy Awards. Daytime. Will also spawned a spin-off called the Zeta Project that dealt with a synthoid named Zeta that was linked to the show. The Zeta Project lasted 26 episodes, had a cameo with Batman Beyond, of course. And, of course, if you all know, Batman Beyond would spawn a direct-to-video named Batman Beyond: The Return of Joker in 2001. The movie received positive reviews, but it had two different versions. One version being edited, one version being unedited. And of course, they released the edited version first because this movie came out the times of the Columbine tragedy that happened in Denver, or Colorado. I think it's close to Denver. Anyways. So they kind of had edited out a whole bunch of stuff because it was still time sensitive to most. I think the Joker's death, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie, the Joker's death was, in the edited version, was electrocution, and in the unedited version, he got shot. I will not tell who he got shot by. Both versions is fine. I think I've seen the uncut version. I'll never seen the edited version. Because we watch unedited here. Sadly enough, Batman Beyond would only last until 2001. December 2001. The creators said it would be put on hold. But I will get to the reason why it was put on hold instead of being officially ended, which it was next time. Now, if it wasn't for these two shows, or a couple of shows, I don't think I would have that much interest in Batman. Like, what really got me into Batman was these shows, of course. And to back my point up, from my earlier statement that the DCAU really established Batman and all its characters, more likely all his characters, establishing storylines with supporting cast, establishing the supporting cast, establishing the villains and the villains' motives, and even keeping some of his enemies around until the end of the actual DCAU series. But I just think they did a really good job of doing that. I think they did a better job than what they did with the live action stuff. And I also think they did a good job with hear me. You know what? You don't have to hear me out. You don't even have to hear me out. I think most of you guys can agree that when it comes to Batman and Superman, that they did a really good job establishing those two friendship and relationship. Like in the beginning of the World's Finest 3-parter, they was kind of hesitant on working each other, was kind of at odds, and eventually they had to come together to defeat Joker and Lex Luthor. And I think they did a really good job doing that at the time. And they didn't try to, I'm not going to say this was a bad idea. And so they didn't try to let Batman go after Superman for some reason, which I didn't think was a bad idea in the live action part. But I think they really did a good job establishing the dark part of the heroism, and then now the lighter part of being a hero, which I'll get into next, the Superman animated series. So, you guys know what to do. Come back. That is all. I'm out. like this video, please subscribe. That's free. Also like the video. Also share it. All those things are free. And also, you can catch me on Instagram at franchise_TV. That's the only social media I have as of right now. And I gotta get back to